Alright, welcome back everyone. It's week 3 and we're Comp 229 in the fall 2020 semester or other semesters, and it's part 2 of our video series. We're talking this week about the express generator. So let's talk about requirements again for this week. Again, some of the same requirements that we had last week. Visual Studio Code has been installed, Git has been installed, Node.js has been installed. You should understand how to install NPM packages. We're going to do another one this week. JavaScript and ECMAScript 2015. Again, you should have already done an overview of Node.js and understand that Express is a package that includes routing, which is something different than what we did with Node.js in that video. So, what are we going to be doing this week? We're going to, or this part, I'm going to talk about how to set up and install the Express generator and how to modify the default site that you get with the Express generator so that it's more friendly for you to use. Let's get to it. Alright, so this is where we left off last week. So what is the Express generator? Well, more or less, it's another package we need to install. Notice that it says npx here. You don't have to use npx, you can use npm to install it, and here's the example of that right here. We install the package, but this is not a package that is only project specific, but rather it's a package that is installed globally. Let's do that now. So again, I'm going to go to our file system, and you can see here that I've got week 3. I'm going to create a new package in a new folder here. We're going to call it new week 4. Let's do that. So here is week 4. Okay, and that's where it's going to go. And in order for me to do this, I'm going to do it a little bit contra to what we did last time. So I'm going to bring up our command prompt, typing in cmd. Here's my command prompt. I'm going to navigate to this folder, and the way to do that is I'm going to say cd space, and then I'm going to drag and drop our folder right into the command prompt like so, and press enter. Now I'm physically in that space. And I want to use the Express generator, but I don't have it installed at this point. So let's install it. Again, this is in the command prompt this time, as opposed to inside Visual Studio Code. So again, the command is npm install -g for global express-generator. You got to spell it right, and then press enter. So again, npm is going to go out there, grab the Express generator, and install it. As you can see, as of this recording, the Express generator version is 4.16.1. That's what's being installed. Great. Now, what I want to do is I want to use Express. Let's follow the examples online here. So you can see, if I use Express -h, it'll actually, because Express now becomes a CLI command, so a command line command, I can get help. One of the options I want to use here is the -e option. And the -e option gives me the chance to, or EJS, it tells Express which view engine we're going to use. Okay, we're going to talk about model view controller most likely in the next video. But here what I've done is I'm going to use the -e option or the -e option to install EJS. The default view engine is Pug, P-U-G. So if you don't specify a view engine version, you're going to get Pug. And Pug is not something that I personally enjoy working with, but you can choose any of the view engines that are here. So that's one way of doing it. You can also specify the CSS engine. If you'd like to use Sass or Compass, you can certainly specify that here as well. We're just going to be using regular the CSS version, so we're not going to specify a -c option here. Okay. And we can also add a gitignore file if I use the --git option. And I think this is okay if I don't want to push our node modules up on GitHub. But for us, we want to keep everything together. So I'm going to not use this --git option and use a gitignore file for now. We can add a gitignore file later on, and you should know what a gitignore file is if you did the training about Git the first week. Let's get to it. So now I'm here, I'm inside week 4, and I'm just going to use that, use Express, right? And again, here's the command. If you are looking at this, express, and then the view engine minus view, or is equal to EJS, or minus E for EJS, and it's just going to scaffold out the project right here in the same folder. So let's try this out. So express minus E, and then press enter. And then what this does is it goes out and scaffolds out. It creates additional folders for us to use here. Okay, now what we need to do is do an npm install, because none of the packages have been installed by default. But before we do that, we don't want to do it here. I'd rather do it inside of Visual Studio Code. Let's drag this into Visual Studio Code here for a second. So here's my last project that we worked on in the last video. Let's just drag week 4. It says week 4. Let's make this, instead of week 4, because it's really week 3 part 2, right? So we'll say week 3 part 2. There it is. We'll drag week 3 part 2 right in here. So drag it in. And now you can see that there are quite a few more folders than what we had in our original structure. And you might say, well, that's a lot. And it's true, there is a lot. But this is how we're going to work from now on. So we're going to go from 0 to hero today. Let's take a look and see how that looks. All right, first of all, let's take a look at our package.json file. Package.json is normally generated for us, but you can see here that we have quite a few files. We also have these underlines, and if I hover over the underlines, it tells me that it says run npm install to install cookie parser because it's not installed. So this is a good indicator that none of these packages have been installed and that my little Express server is not going to run. So again, I'm going to press Control and backtick, and I'm going to install all these packages by issuing an npm install command. And then press enter. So you can see now that these errors are going to shortly go away. These are just warnings that, hey, there's something missing, here, and that's why we're having these issues, right? Sometimes you get a kind of, click away and click back, and you can see that that is good now. Okay, a couple other things that are really weird with this package is, in order for us to run this thing, notice our start. There's actually a start script, and the way to run the start script is actually do an npm start. So that's the default way of running it. So if I do npm start, then now it's going to launch my node. It's actually going to run node, but from the bin www folder. So if you look at in our folder structure, we have a bin folder, and inside there we have a weird file called www. I'm not fond of this structure, and we're going to heavily modify this scaffold as we go forward. And we'll talk about this. The first part is just making it run. Okay, so let's go back up to our website now. And let's go to this, and just press refresh. And you can see now that it says 404. So this is an actual better response. And it says comp 3000 products. There's nothing there. Well, why? Because we had left products in here. So it doesn't understand what products is. If I scroll back or backspace and I press enter, now we're back to Express. Yay! It says Express. Welcome to Express. We're all good to go. Pretty boring though, in terms of what we can do here. So let's modify some stuff before we stop. We're going to do several videos in this series. Let's go and see what we can do. So first thing what I want to do is I want to remove, let's stop this. And remember what I said before, app.js, this is app.js, this is our application that's running. And my application that's running right now is inside the root of our folder. But notice that it's been broken up into two pieces. App.js that includes all the piece parts, and notice there's some horrible vars we have to get rid of in a bit when we do our modifications. But these are all the piece parts that kind of make up the whole Express generator experience. And we're going to go through each of these things in a sec. But first, let's get into the first part. First, I want you to take your www file, and if you notice what it is, it's actually the server.js file, but they've just called it www. I'm not really fond of this, like I said. I'm just going to pull it out of here and pull it into the main space. And it says update imports from www. Yes, let's do all that all the time. And it's going to update our tracking. If you don't have that, we have to do it manually later on. Notice that before it would point to /app, which means you'd have to go up from the bin folder into the root folder to get to the app folder. Okay? So now that our www file is out here, let's rename it. So I'm just going to put rename, and let's call this what it is, server.js. So that's our server.js file. And app.js is something that we're going to be running with. This is where all of our application packages are going to be linked together, almost like a package manifest is what we're going to be using the app.js file for. For now, we're going to leave it here out in wild space in the root of our folder, and I'm going to get rid of or delete the bin folder for now. So I'm just going to go here and delete. We don't need that part. We can always refresh to see where our packages are. And now when I run our Express package, I can do a nodemon. Remember, nodemon wouldn't work unless the package was there. Okay, so we've got a bit of a problem. It says, hey, I'm not sure what you're trying to do here, Tom, but it's kind of trying to go get us out to nodemon, and it's trying to run this package. It says, I want to try and see if I can get to www. Why? Because in our package.json file, it's telling us this is where it needs to go. And that's not what we want. We want our start actually to look at our server.js. So let's just type in here, in our package.json, server.js, and press save. Okay, so that's the first thing. So /server.js means take a look at server.js. That's where you're going to go. It also gives us some hints on why this isn't working. Let's just restart. If you press RS for nodemon, it'll restart the server. If you press enter, it'll try and do that. So that didn't quite work. It says starting node /bin www. It's the one time where we have to kind of save this part. This wasn't saved. And let's just restart. And you can see it's still not working. So Control C for stopping. Sometimes it has to happen because what's happened is it didn't absorb this change. And so, because start has to be saved, the package.json file, and so does the server.js that we pulled out here. Let's try that again. Just clear it and run and type in nodemon. And now we're good to go. Okay? It's just because it didn't have the package.json file loaded, and that's why we're giving this error. And you might have got this error as well. Totally fine to do. Hey, this is back to where we were before. Now, if I go back out to here, we can still refresh and we're still good to go. However, if I put in any other route, let's say, for example, contact, then you're going to see a 404 because there is no contact route. There is no any other route. It's just this route. Okay, so that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to just restructure this a little bit. And just to show you where this structure is, the way the Express generator works is for the Express generator package, it creates these folders, and inside of views, it has an index.ejs. We're going to be talking about EJS in the coming videos, but you can see here what it does. It has almost like a template. That's what this is. This is not a complete HTML file. And notice that it's not an index.html. The index.html file is going to be composed for you based on the things that we send to our index.ejs template. This is a template. And we can tell because of these type of marks right here. Now, you can certainly download an EJS binding for this particular file structure from your Visual Studio Code. If you go into extensions, and if you search for EJS, you can see that I've installed an EJS extension, .0.01. This is pretty good. There's other ones. You can also go with EJS language support. And all this does is it gives you a little bit more friendly structure in terms of the way you're supporting those files. So if I go back and I look at index.ejs now, you can see that I have an option. I can pull the type of language that I'm looking at. Here is EJS. And it's going to recognize that these things here are directives as opposed to errors. If I was to make this into an HTML, if I had Visual Studio recognize this as HTML, if I click HTML, you can see that this would not go the same way. So it's EJS that we want, and I'm going to go back and do that. Excellent. So instead of welcome to Express, let's just change this. We'll say hello world again, because it's another hello world of a kind, right? So hello world, right? So this is the change that we're going to make sure that it works. I'm going to save this, And I've saved this change. If I go back out to here and I go to our main site there, it says hello world, express hello world, and that's what you should have too. So that's it for me for this recording. I just wanted you to install the Express generator package. That's what we covered right now. And we configured it a little bit. We configured it so that it would take EJS type files in its view engine. When we come back in the next video, I'm going to show you how to further configure this thing so we can start using it. I'm going to create a 5-page site with you. But that's it for now. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.